Good morning, everyone. I'm John Gutzman. I'm the Executive Director at St. Paul Public Housing Authority, and I want to welcome Mayor Coleman and all of our distinguished guests who are here today to make an important announcement about recycling. Mount Airy High-Rise is home to about 153 individuals, most of whom are disabled or seniors, and the Mount Airy Family Development is home to about 315 households, most of whom work in our city at minimum wage jobs. They are all part of the PHA family. We house about 21,000 residents in the programs through the St. Paul Public Housing Agency. Since 1989, the residents of our high-rises in particular have been very active in recycling. Each high-rise has a recycling coordinator who works with Eureka Recycling. And our 16 high-rises in total recycle about 140 tons a year. The money from recycling goes back to the resident councils, and they use that for their program and activities. Their work helps us clean up the environment, and it helps the PHA reduce its trash hauling costs. Yet we all know we could do more. I'm really proud of the work the high-rise residents do, but frankly, our family residents could perhaps do a bit more. So we're thrilled today to hear about the new changes that will impact all the residents of St. Paul. And once again, we're so delighted that Mayor Coleman and all the council members chose Mount Airy to make this important announcement. So ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct honor to give you Mayor Chris Coleman.
Thanks, John. John, thank you for all your work and the incredible work that PHA does to really be a leader on recycling. And so we're very excited to be here today because I think this makes a giant leap forward for the city of St. Paul in terms of our sustainability, in terms of our environmental quality, in terms of the leadership that we have, I feel like always been a part of in terms of recycling and other programs. This puts St. Paul back in the leadership map. And we're very happy to be a part of that. And I just want to we have several speakers today. We have a lot of our council members are here. We're hoping that Commissioner Reinhardt will join us shortly. But we're going to start off this program with a very short video.
Ano ako chira?
Ini pan la kele.
Taba junto.
I'm all in.
We're all in.
Cô con tiểu á.
All right, are we all ready to be all in? All right, this is great. Thank you so much. What a great video. If you're like me and you wander around with a can looking for recycling, and you know, we have to make this easier. We have to make it just part of our unconsciousness that we are recycling in the city of St. Paul, and now we're making it easier to do that by adding a lot of recycling, adding a lot of just doing the single sort. So we're very excited about that. What we saw in St. Paul was that the rate of recycling was declining. And it was a little frustrating for those of us in leadership positions because, that wasn't how we visioned ourselves. That we just always have thought of St. Paul as a leader in recycling. And so as we saw these rates go down, Ramsey County and the city of St. Paul hired Wilder Research in 2012 to conduct a comprehensive assessment about residential solid waste and recycling programs. And what we found was that the residents wanted, first of all, the ability to recycle more plastics. They wanted it to be more convenient. They wanted more opportunities for composting organic materials. And finally, they wanted more options for handling bulky waste items like mattresses and furniture, et cetera. This expanded recycling program is an important part of answering all the questions that our residents asked of us and all the desires that the residents shared with us. As of today, single-sort recycling is beginning in St. Paul. You'll no longer have to separate materials, which is just makes it so much easier just to have one bin that you can throw everything into. Also, as of today, residents can recycle more plastic material than ever before. Residents can now recycle most anything that includes a number, 1, 2, 4, 5, or 7 on the label, including yogurt and margarine tubs, transparent to-go and deli containers, and produce containers. These programs changes will make it much more convenient for all St. Paul residents to recycle. St. Paul City Council has also been strong supporters of the recycling changes, and I really want to thank them for their leadership. In addition to a couple that you'll hear from, we also have Councilmember Brenmoen. We're in your ward? No. We're close. We're in Di's ward. All right. Well, that's why I guess that's why we get to hear from Di later on. And then we also have Councilmember Chris Tolbert here from the 3rd Ward, and so we're very thankful for the support of the council. There's one person I really want to thank. She wrote my talking points today, and of course she never includes herself, but without her leadership, and not only her leadership in this effort, but literally, I don't want to out her by saying decades of work, but for many years of work on the environment, on recycling, on sustainability in the city of St. Paul. I'd like to give a round of applause to my sustainability coordinator, Ann Hunt. And at this time, I'd love to turn the podium over to a person who's also been a leader in this area, Councilmember Russ Stark.
Good morning, and thank you very much to Mayor Coleman for his leadership on this issue. It's been a pleasure working with him and Ann Hunt to really move this issue forward. And it's been a long time coming. Thanks to my colleagues, Chris Tolbert and Amy Brenmoen in particular, working on this issue with me over the last year or so, and to my newest colleague, Councilmember Di Tao, again, whose ward we're in. Thank you for your support on this important issue and for being here. Just a couple of weeks ago, the City Council approved a new resolution setting new goals for recycling in the city. As Mayor Coleman mentioned, our rates have been slipping, and so we really wanted to look at this issue and aggressively think about how much better can we do and how quickly can we get there. And so we set new goals that include diverting 35% of our waste into recycling and composting by 2016, all the way up to by 2030, making sure that 80% of our waste is not ending up either in landfills or incinerators. And it's a goal that's, I think, a bold one and a high bar, but I think we can get there. Other communities have been able to do that. And to that point, I think in some ways what we're doing today is not only making it easier to recycle more material, but we're recycling an old idea. And that idea is that St. Paul is a leader on this issue and has been for a long time. But we really needed to refresh our approach. And so really looking forward to working with all of you in this room today to make sure that we get there. The changes are going to make it easier for each and every one of us to recycle, whether you're in a house, in an apartment. It's really going to simplify the system. That's one of the big issues that people identified as making it easier. Depending on your situation, some people can actually save money by recycling more. They can get a smaller trash can, reduce their trash cost, as John Goodsman mentioned. It's definitely going to be better for the environment, cleaner air and water, less pollution coming from the factories that are making the things that were not recycled previously. And a big deal too is that it'll reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And we all know that our climate is changing and not always for the better. Last but not least, recycling more will actually help us create jobs. And in fact, in my ward, Ward 4, which is the northwestern part of the city, one of our big job clusters in the Midway area is recycling-based businesses. And they will benefit from the additional material, and hopefully we'll be able to create some more jobs in that field. So a very exciting day indeed. A couple of things to point out to look forward to in the future beyond today. That next year we're going to be looking towards actually having lidded carts for folks instead of those old blue bins. They'll make it easier to contain all the material in one container. It'll have a lid, be more sanitary. And a couple years down the road, we're going to move towards compost collection in St. Paul as well. So many things to celebrate today, and a lot to look forward to. Our success in this effort, though, really is going to depend on each and every one of you participating, telling your friends and neighbors about the new program, what they can do, and all of us, frankly, being all in. So thank you very much for having me today and for being here.
It is really true. You can reduce the more you recycle, the less you put into the garbage stream, the more you can reduce your costs for garbage collection. So recycling is a key component of that. Having your kids go off to college is another way you can accomplish the same goal. It's funny how that happens, but Connie and I have found that out. I want to acknowledge a school board member who's here, Louise Seba, because if there's a place where we are really going to make sure that kids learn early on about recycling and why that matters, it's in the school system, and they've been a great leader as well. So Louise, thank you for being here. At this point, I get the great pleasure to turn the podium over to another. So many people in this room have been such great leaders on environmental and sustainability issues. But one of the leaders from the county perspective clearly has been Commissioner Victoria Reinhardt, who is here with us today, and we'd love to have her up here.
Good morning. This is truly an exciting day. I can tell you that I see a lot of familiar faces out here, and so they know that I am fond of saying that I love garbage. And the reason that I love it, honestly, and the work that we do in it is because each and every one of us can make a difference in the environment. And so by what we don't throw away, what we don't have as garbage, we can reduce, reuse, recycle. And make sure that we are putting less into landfills or into waste-to-energy facilities. And it just makes sense. So each and every person can make a difference. And I think with what St. Paul is doing right now, you're making it easier for every person to make a difference and not have to worry about, okay, what goes here and what goes there. So I want to start out by saying congratulations to St. Paul on making this big and wonderful step in improving recycling. Ramsey County and the City of St. Paul have been working for 30 years to try to make sure that you have the recycling opportunities and to make it as convenient as possible to have access to recycling. And what we're celebrating today here will make it even easier as we are all in. Recycling is more than just the right thing to do. For the environment. It's the right thing to do for our economy. Last year, residents and businesses in Ramsey County threw away $20 million worth of recyclable materials. And think about that, what a difference that would make. Recovering that material is an economic development and opportunity for our region. And so again, you're helping the environment, but you're also helping the economy in the process. I would really like to say thank you to Mayor Coleman, the City Council. Thank you to Eureka Recycling. Thank you to the Ramsey County staff for all the work that we've done. And I really look forward to being all in with you to recover resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. That $20 million figure just happens to coincide with how much it would cost us to rebuild all of our streets every year. So think about this. No more potholes if we all capture that money. in the city of St. Paul. Thank you so much. Obviously, a great and critical partner in this is Eureka Recycling, that actually collects the recyclable material in our community. They've been a partner with the city for many, many years, and at this point I'd like to turn it over to the President and CEO of Eureka Recycling, Tim Brownell.
Thank you, Mayor Coleman and council members, and to all of you for being here. It's an honor actually being in this building in Mount Airy High Rise. It's emblematic of the leadership and commitment that the city of St. Paul and its program has taken. It's not in every city that you see multifamily buildings and public housing buildings have the opportunity and access to recycling programs. It takes a lot of effort by the people within the building, and we want to acknowledge that as well. But this is the City of St. Paul's program is a leader, and people from around the country look at it. This multifamily program is an example of it, and thank you for all the work that you do. We're very excited about these announced changes and the changes that are occurring in St. Paul's program as of today. The addition of plastics, the movement of single sort collections. That's all part of the conversation that we've been having with the City of St. Paul over the last few years in terms of how can we really move the recovery of recyclables, compostables, and even the reduction of materials in the City of St. Paul. We're very excited about the city's commitment to move to an 80% recycling rate. And we're committed to help the city get there and try and do it even faster than 2030. Let's get to 80% and beyond before 2030. There's an environmental urgency to this, and as Victoria Reinhardt was saying, there's an economic benefit to this as well to the communities. In the state of Minnesota, there are over 21,000 jobs generated by the recovery of recyclables and compostables, and think about it, as we double that, the amount of opportunities that creates. We are also, as you know, most of you may know, and some of you may not, Eureka is a nonprofit organization, a zero waste organization. We've been partnered with the city since 2001 to do this work, and that's part of the lineage of the city of St. Paul. They've been partnered with nonprofits since 1986. And it's a very exciting partnership and opportunity to really educate and create programs that are of benefit to the communities here. These changes in the program also represent, Eureka's just invested $5 million in our recycling processing facility so that we can enable the addition of plastics and the transition to a single sort system. It's a significant investment, but it also creates the opportunity, and we're excited about that opportunity that it allows for the residents of the city of St. Paul to participate in this recycling program in a greater fashion with easier access and with more materials to be able to recover. This is an investment that for Eureka, it'll take us the next 7 years to pay off, but it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it for this community to lay the foundation for not only these changes, but additional changes to come here in the city of St. Paul, and to bring the benefits to the community, economic, environmental, and social in terms of access. So we're delighted about the changes. We're excited about a perfect first day of weather. I'm glad we started today instead of Friday, and we're really looking forward to the opportunities that this presents. So thank you all.
Thanks, Tim, and thanks to Eureka for your support. My recycling day is tomorrow, so I'm going to go home tonight and I'm going to unsort all my things just to try it out. I'm very excited about that. Our newest council member, who represents this area, I knew that, right? Oh, wait, I didn't, but that's okay. Is a key leader in this as well, particularly reaching out into our immigrant communities, making sure that we have recycling materials and information in multiple languages so that we really help people understand what they can do and how easy it is to do it, particularly with the new single sort system. And so we're honored to have Councilmember Dai-Tao to say a few words.
Thank you, and once again, welcome to Ward 1. As a scout growing up, one of the things that we are taught in scouting is to care for the earth and the environment. And so recycling, we come to a point where recycling, I think, should be part of our day-to-day conversation with our family, our friends, our neighbor. Just as much as we talk about the Vikings, we should be talking about recycling as well. So I'm so proud of the partnership between our mayor, our residents, and the city council to implement these changes to the recycling program. The city have asked how residents can improve the program, and based on their feedback, we made those changes. We're all in this together because these changes will make St. Paul greener, cleaner today and for future generations. And so at this time, I'd like to introduce two very important people that has made recycling and community champion in the work of recycling. That's housing manager, Ms. Nina Semmelroth, and longtime St. Paul resident recycling coordinator of this building, Ed Getz. Mr. Getz has been the recycling coordinator since 1988. And so please help me welcome them. They are going to say a few words about how these recycling changes means to them and Mount Airy. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Nina Semmelroth, St. Paul Public Housing Agency, and I've been working with the recycling program for many years now. Ed, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Ed Getz.
Ed, what do you do here at Mount Airy?
Recycling.
And how long have you been with the recycling program?
88.
Is that 1988?
1988.
Just to be clear. I know it's been a long time. Over the years, have you seen an increase in the recycling?
A little bit.
And Ed, with these new changes, what would you like to see?
More recycling.
That's good. And if I was to ask if you were halfway in or all in, what would you tell me?
All in.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina, and thank you, Ed, for being all in. And since 1988, congratulations for your leadership and your work on this. It's wonderful. I also want to just acknowledge some of the work of our great public works staff that have been really intimately and intricately involved in this. Obviously, our director, Rich Lallier, also Bruce Beasy and Chris Hagman have just been doing phenomenal work shepherding this program forward and these changes that we have here today. And so thank you all. As we move forward, not only into these changes that we see today, as Councilmember Stark referenced, really trying to get to the point where we're also doing organic recycling in the future. We think that St. Paul will be recognized as a leader across the country on our recycling and our sustainability programs. I think that is our tradition, that is our past, but it will also be our future, and we're very excited about that. And so at this point, open up if there's any questions. Otherwise, you know, I always like to say, why ask questions when there's cake to be had? But if there are a few questions, we can take them at this time. Hearing none, let them eat cake. Thank you very much.